Is the Chicago Cubs front office quietly getting aggressive this offseason? And I'm not just talking about going out and getting free agents, but I'm also thinking that they're going to make some historic trades, and not just any trades, but trading for hitters, locking down the bullpen, and potentially locking down their future star in PCA. We're going to cover it all and then some right here on Chicago Cubs Central. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Jones back again with another episode of What Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Listen, man, I love the outpouring, the support you guys have been giving me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, everybody that's tuning in, everybody that's watching, everybody that's commenting, everybody that's liking, everybody that's sharing, and everybody that is subscribing. Appreciate you all so much, whether you are on YouTube, whether you're on X, whether you are on Apple, whether you are on Spotify, whether you are on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for following me on these outlets. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for comments. And thank you so much for being a part of the show and giving me more content to talk about. As always, guys, listen, we do this together. This show is not possible without each and every last one of you. I would not be doing this if each and every last one of you were not here tuning in. So I appreciate you guys for making this your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. With that being said, y'all, get active in the comments below on these topics today. We're going to talk about a potential closer. We're going to talk about locking in a superstar in PCA, and then we're also going to talk about a trading for another piece that could be a potential DH slash right field help in the replacement of Kyle Tucker. So, all right, y'all, let's talk about this. First and foremost, Pete Fairbanks is somebody that the Chicago Cubs have been linked to as a potential closing piece. So, the Chicago Cubs are desperately in need of a closer. So, Pete Fairbanks is somebody that, instead of exercising the $11 million option that the team had on him, the team opted to pay $1 million buyout, making him a free agent a year early. Again, like I said, he's somebody that worked 61 games. He pitched 60 and a third innings. He had an ERA of 2.83, 27 saves in 2025, 59 strikeouts, a whip of 1.04. When you look at the advanced metrics, according to Baseball Savant, his 2025 WOBA against was around 0.269, and his average exit velo was around 90.2 miles per hour with a barrel rate of 4.8%. So again, when you look at somebody like Pete Fairbanks, you would say to yourself, okay, Pete Fairbanks isn't giving you what Devin Williams is giving you. He isn't giving you, what some of these other high profile closers are giving you. But what does he give you? What does he offer? Consistency. He consistently closes games. 27 saves is nothing to sneeze at in 2025, and he would have had more had his team been better and put him in a better position to close games. So you look at him and you say, if the Cubs target a closer, Fairbanks offers elite level saves potential at likely a lower cost than some of the top tier free agent closers. He's proven in high leverage situations, and he has a track record of converting the saves. So again, with your closer, one thing you don't want is for them to come into the game and completely get obliterated. You want to bring them in the game when you have a 1-run lead, a 2-run lead, and you want them to be able to finish that game off. You do not want them to have to sit. Do not want them to have to struggle like we've seen the Chicago Cubs closers over the last year struggle. I'm talking about Porter Hodge. I'm talking about Ryan Presley. I'm talking about Daniel Palencia. I'm talking about all of those guys. Those guys are great pitchers. Yes, they are. And some were great pitchers in their day, but they aren't on the level of a Pete Fairbanks. And this is definitely somebody that the Chicago Cubs are absolutely going to target. It would not shock me one single solitary bit if Pete Fairbanks is not somebody that's a Chicago Cub if Pete Fairbanks, it would not shock me if Pete Fairbanks is a Chicago Cub in 2026, y'all, because like I said, he just fits the profile of what the Chicago Cubs are trying to do. Again, he's proven in those high leverage situations. He has stability and durability. In 2025, he stayed healthy, had his most appearances of his career, and proved he can handle a full workload. So, the cool part about him is he doesn't rely on purely and overpowering stuff. So when you see most closers, you see guys hitting triple digits on the gun, right? And like I said, they just overpower the hitters, right? But what happens when a hitter catches up with something in triple power? Well, triple digits on the gun. Well, 9 times out of 10, that's going out the park, or at least going to be a very, very, very loud, hard ball, hard to catch up with, hard to hit, hard to field. So when you look at it, somebody that's able to pitch to contact and get you out, like I said, his low barrel rate, everything like that, it all supports the fact that his plan just works. What he does as a pitcher really, really works for the team. Now, what are his risks? He's had some injury history in the past, y'all. I'm not going to sit up here and say this man has a clean bill of health. He does have some injury history in the past, but 2025 he stayed healthy all season long and was available for the Tampa Bay why am I blanking on the name? He was available for Tampa Bay during the season for the most part. The Tampa Bay Rays. I don't know why I was blanking for a second. And so also another risk, while his strikeout rate is solid, if it's not dominant, it's definitely not dominant though. So it's one of those things where, like I said, he will strike guys out, but he also pitches to contact. So, like I said, you're gonna have to depend on your elite outfield and infield to get outs. And the Cubs will have to be vulnerable or comfortable with some validity when it comes to a pitcher such as Pete Fairbanks. So how does he fit in with the Chicago Cubs? If the Cubs can land Fairbanks, they solidify the ninth in a cost-effective way and free up other arms to be used in other high leverage or more flexible roles. So again, they would get a proven closer without necessarily overpaying. Again, I'm telling you guys, the money's going to go for the Padres old closer, for the Yankees old closer, for guys like that. I mean, the money is going to fly for these guys. So again, the Chicago Cubs always try to find a cost-effective way on how to do business. Like I said, he just screams exactly what Jed Hoyer wants to do. So look up Pete Fairbanks, look up his stats, look up his what he did for the Tampa Bay Rays, and then comment below and let me know you guys' thoughts. What would you do? Do you think Pete Fairbanks fits with what the Chicago Cubs are trying to do? Do you expect the Chicago Cubs to sign Pete Fairbanks? I do personally. If I had to take a guess, I would guess that he probably more than likely will end up being our closer in 2026. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We just got to make sure, like I said, that he does his job as well as the defense also is able to get out. So, because he is going to pitch the contact. So, all right. Next up, let's look at Adolis García. Now, I don't know if any of you play MLB The Show. I love MLB The Show. I love going to the home run derby with Adolis García. I think he is just an amazing hitter. I think he's an amazing home run hitter. I think that he is somebody, when healthy, that can do damage. Remember the Texas Rangers 2 years ago when they won the World Series? 3 years ago when they won the World Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Adolis was a big part of that. He was a big part of what the Rangers did that year. In 2025, though, Garcia played 135 games. He had 507 ABs, 115 hits, 28 doubles, 19 home runs, 75 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases. He had a batting average of 227. His slugging percentage was 394. And then, like I said, so he's coming off of a down season. So he is somebody absolutely that could be on the trade block for the Rangers. But again, I just think maybe he had a down year. I think he tried to play maybe a little bit banged up. but still tried to go out there and to perform. Again, if I have a choice between him and Joe Adele, who am I going with for power? I'm gonna go with Joe Adele, obviously, like I said, but Adolis Garcia might come cheaper on the trade market based off of what his season looked like last year. So you might be able to get him at more of a bargain. Remember, Chicago Cubs are trying to do everything for a bargain, y'all. So, like I said, if you got to trade a bunch of stuff to get Joe Adele in here, then you could definitely look at Adolis Garcia and probably get him for a lot less. And he's somebody that brings pedigree, somebody that brings that brings experience. So there's multiple trade rumor outlets suggesting that the Rangers are listening on deals for him. Now, again, like I said, 2023 was his best year. It was an all-star year. He played MVP level baseball. But again, like I said, 2024, 2025 were not so kind to him, and it makes him a movable asset. Like I said, especially if he is not coming through for the teams, like he should. So the pros for the Cubs as far as signing Garcia. So he will bring power and an established bat. Again, if he rebounds, he could be a middle of the order piece. He also potentially could become cheaper than any long-term locked-in stars, depending on what they ask for in the deal. What are the risks with him? In 2025, his numbers show regression. There's a high risk that he doesn't bounce back. Also, in any trade cost could be significant, especially for a team that may not want to mortgage their future too much for a 1-year bounce back. So, like I said, you got to take the highs with the lows when it comes to Garcia. He definitely is a risk reward type of player. He's somebody that you absolutely could see rewarding the Chicago Cubs, ducking the cover off the ball if he's able to bounce back, if he gets in with our hitting coach, and he's able to do something. But again, that's only if he's able to bounce back. And you have to keep that same consistency up. So what would it cost? The Cubs could offer a mixture of maybe a lower tier MLB starter or a bullpen piece, a couple of prospects who are fringe but have some upside. Because Garcia's control isn't super long term, the Rangers' asking price might be as high as for a multi-year starter. So, I mean, like I said, the Chicago Cubs could put together some type of package that revolves around, a starter or two, like I said, or like I said, a AAA guy that's a fringe starter, and a couple of other prospect pieces. Whatever the cost may be, like I said, if as long as it isn't too high, I would entertain it, especially if you do end up missing out on somebody like Joe Adele, because I do believe Garcia will end up having a bounce back year. What are you guys' thoughts on Adolis Garcia, on his 2025 and the potential for the Chicago Cubs to trade somebody like him? He is definitely in the Chicago Cubs trade rumor mill. Last but not least, let's talk about our very own Team USA player slash all-star slash Golden Glover slash should be a Silver Slugger. With everything that I just said, it is of no one's surprise that either that before and after PCA makes it onto Team USA and plays for Team USA this year, representing this country. The Chicago Cubs have a plan to try to talk contract extension negotiation once again with Pete Crow-Armstrong. Pete Crow-Armstrong in 2025 had a batting average of 247, 31 home runs, 95 RBIs, 35 stolen bases in 2025. He posted a 287 OBP and a 481 slug in 2025. According to defensive analysts, he's among the best in range for center fielders, leading or near leading MLB in range component of defensive runs saved. And he also won the Gold Glove in 2025. So you already know what that means as far as the National League. And he's going to be a multi-year Gold Glove award winner. He's going to win like 4 or 5 of those before it's all said and done, just because of what he can do out there in center field. But yeah, Pete Armstrong, the Cubs do have team control through 2030. But if you wait, PCA could command a lot in arbitration because of his counting stats. Like I said, he's just somebody that has been amazing for the Chicago Cubs, and he's only going to get better. because he's so valuable and controllable, the Cubs want to lock him in early before he blows up into a megastar, before he gets on MLB The Show video game case, before he gets, all the different accolades that he's going to get, and before he potentially wins MVP. You guys got to remember, for 3 months last year, Pete Crow-Armstrong was in the MVP conversation, and he did get votes for MVP too. So, I mean, let's remember that this kid is legit. He is the real deal. And the Chicago Cubs know that. That's why they're trying to hurry up and lock him up into some type of contract. Like I said, and so that way they know they have him for some years. PCA is athletic. He's young. He's the cornerstone of the team. Securing him long-term signals that he's part of the future nucleus of this squad. So it just makes perfect sense. I think him and Nico, and depending on what you decide to do with Matt Shaw, I think it's great to lock those guys up. Those are going to be your guys. Michael Busch also. You still got years of arbitration on Bushy too. So again, you look at this and you see the cornerstone pieces of the Chicago Cubs next 5 to 10 years. PCA is a big part of that. I mean, he just is. He's a big part of what the Chicago Cubs are looking to do and to accomplish. So like I said, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Chicago Cubs can do with him. I'm also looking forward to watch him play in Team USA. Like I said, I mean, I think he's going to show out, and I think he once again is going to show why the Chicago Cubs should want to keep him and why they should want to pay him now. Because again, if they wait till 2030, he could command somewhere around $300 to $400 million, whereas now you could get him for around 150, maybe $200 million now. So PCA, I don't think he'll accept any deal. I do think he's going to bet on himself. I think he's going to bet on himself. I think he was going to see what 2026 holds for him. And then maybe after 2026, you might be able to talk him into a deal. But if he blows up in 2026, look out. You're looking at somewhere north of $300 million to have to pay Pete Armstrong to play. And it's not going to be a game. It's going to be for real, for real. So that's my thoughts on that. Hopefully Jed is able to get something done. But listen, I appreciate you guys so much. Hey, listen, I want to know you guys' thoughts. Please comment below. What's your thoughts on the Cubs trying to sign a contract extension with PCA now rather than have to pay him a crap ton of money later? Is it smart? Do you think PCA is going to go for it? Also, what's your thoughts on Pete Fairbanks? Should the Chicago Cubs try to sign the closer and make him the closer of the Chicago Cubs for 2026, given his stats, given his pitching profile, and given what he has been able to do in this league? And last but not least, Adolis García is somebody the Chicago Cubs could potentially trade for. Do you want the Chicago Cubs to trade for him, or do you want Joe Adell? Do you want somebody else out there in right field? We are assuming Kyle Tucker is as good as gone, so we need somebody out there. Let me know you guys' thoughts on all these things below. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, go Cubs.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.